Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulihil kareem, wa ala alihi wa ashabi wa man istanna bi sunnatihi ila yawmiddin. All praise is due to Allah, and may Allah's peace and blessings be on the last Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and on all those who follow the path of righteousness until the last day. This is the 36th session of our series in the names of Allah. And in this session, we'll be covering the 53rd name, which is Al-Waasi', the vast and the all-encompassing. In terms of its Quranic location, this divine name is mentioned 9 times in the Quran. Among them is verse 115 in Surah Al-Baqarah, in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says there, فَأَيْنَمَا تُوَلُّوا فَثَمَّ وَجْهُ اللَّهِ إِنَّ اللَّهَ وَاسِعٌ عَلِيمٌ. Wherever you turn, you face Allah. Indeed, Allah is vast and omniscient. In terms of meaning of the word wasi', linguistically it is the present participle coming from the root waw, sin, ain. As a gerund, it's wus'un, and it has 3 main meanings. The first meaning is that of being vast, boundless in capacity or size, and spacious. The second meaning of this root is to be plentiful and bountiful. And the third is to embrace, comprehend, or pervade. Versions of this root appear 32 times in the Quran, in 6 different derived forms. But relative to Allah, this divine name Al-Waasi' means that He is beyond any limits of His essence and in the operation of His attributes. His blessings, care, and kindness encompass the whole of creation, and He is self-sufficient and sufficient for all. Nothing is beyond Him. He is the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end, and there are no functional limits to any of His attributes. Our minds simply cannot grasp the vast extent of His essence or His power. On a number of occasions, Allah has combined this divine name with Al-Alim, emphasizing the vastness of His favors and His knowledge and wisdom, which He gives to whomsoever He pleases. And He knows who is most deserving of portions of His kingdom, and His knowledge in order to rectify society or in order to take personal benefit from it. Al-Waasi' also refers to Allah's making the religion spacious enough for Muslims to avoid burdening the masses with religious acts beyond their abilities. There is room for those who can and want to do more, as well as those who can only handle the basics. Allah enunciated this principle in verse 286 from Surah Al-Baqarah, لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها. Allah does not burden any soul beyond its capacity. And the Prophet ﷺ further elaborated on this principle, saying, إن هذا الدين يسر ولن يشاد الدين أحد إلا غلبه. Indeed, this religion is easy. So anyone who makes it difficult will be defeated by it. Thus, everything that Allah has prescribed regarding worship and business transactions in the Sharia can generally be handled by most people, by everybody in general, really. Then He reduced the requirements for those who are sick, those who are traveling, old people, the poor, females, certain circumstances, the young, and others who are justifiably excused. All of that is a part of Allah's being Al-Waasi', who easily accommodates all of the needs of His creatures. This is why also Allah forbade monasticism and celibacy, as it defeats many, if not most, who try to maintain it. The fact that the Catholic Church is currently facing a deluge of court cases involving pedophilia and homosexuality by priests, bishops, and cardinals is sufficient evidence that it is beyond the ability of most. And even in the Prophet ﷺ's time, when 3 of his companions, after questioning the wives of the Prophet ﷺ as to his ibadah, how does he live the deen in the home, they concluded that they needed to do even more than what the Prophet ﷺ was doing. So one of them said that he would fast every day. The other said that he would not get married. And the third one said that he would stay up all night in prayer, every night. When the Prophet ﷺ returned and was informed of their statements, he called the people together and said, listen, I'm the best of you, yet I fast and I break my fast. I stay up in night in prayer and I sleep. And I also marry. So whoever prefers a sunnah other than mine is not a true follower of mine. فَمَنْ رَغِبَ عَنْ سُنَّتِي فَلَيْسَ مِنِّي. So he discouraged that, going to those extremes. Those who wanted to do more, he gave other options: fasting Mondays and Thursdays, fasting the three full moon days of the month. So these were there, additional fasts available. Fast of Dawood if a person wants to go all the way. But that's every other day. It's still not every day. And similarly, issues with regards to marriage and prayer. Allah is also expansive in His forgiveness of sins. For all who repent and turn back to Allah, regardless of how many times and how many sins we have committed. Allah in Surah Az-Zumar, verse 53, said, قُلْ يَا عِبَادِي الَّذِينَ أَصْرَفُوا عَنْ أَنفُسِهِمْ لا تقنطوا من رحمة الله إن الله يغفر الذنوب جميعا إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. Tell them, O Prophet, O my servants who have committed excesses against themselves, do not despair of Allah's mercy. Surely Allah forgives all sins. He is the most forgiving and most merciful. The Prophet ﷺ further illustrated this feature of Allah being Al-Waasi' in many of his authentically recorded statements. For example, Abu Hurairah related that the Messenger of Allah ﷺ said, whoever says Subhanallah, Subhanallah wa bihamdi, that is, glory be to Allah and may He be praised, 100 times, his sins or her sins will be removed from him or her, even if they are like the foam on the ocean. This is example of Allah being Al-Waasi, accommodating, vast, expansive, except bringing everything in. Everything is covered by His mercy, His forgiveness, His favors, etc. Moving on now to the application of this name Al-Wasi', according to Ibn Battal's 4 principles, the first of which is to adopt where applicable. Now this divine name Al-Wasi' contains functional dimensions which human beings simply cannot imitate in the least. However, it is possible for us to make room for the needs of those around us and to embrace them with our kindness. We can strive to include all servants of Al-Wasi' in our compassion and good treatment at all times. And as well, we can strive to be gracious and attentive to the requests of those who ask us for help. It is true we do have limits, but we can always make extra efforts to go beyond those limits to help, serve, and protect others. To go the extra yard, to find a way when there seems to be no other way, rather than just giving up at the first signs of difficulty. As we would like Al-Wasi' to be to us, we should strive to be with others under our care and responsibility, and even those not directly under us. We should always try to have that big heart, which we admire in others, and to be accommodating in ways that we appreciate when others show it to us. Let us try to emulate Al-Wasi' on our limited human scale by being there whenever people we know and even people we don't know reach out to us for help. The second principle, to confirm where unique and inapplicable. As I mentioned earlier, the attributes of Al-Wasi' operate on a mind-boggling, limitless level that creation cannot begin to comprehend, much less apply. Consequently, we should sincerely worship Allah Al-Wasi' by recognizing His unbounded embrace of everything in existence. Nothing is beyond Him. At the same time, we should also deny any attempts to give these divine qualities to any of His creatures, even if they're called God incarnate or God containers. So, one of the ways of worshipping Allah through this divine name Al-Wasi' is by rejecting Christian claims that Prophet Jesus was the Alpha and Omega and that He always existed. Allah is also worshipped by affirming Jesus' humanity as a prophet of Islam, who was born miraculously of the Virgin Mary and who spoke as a newborn baby, raised the dead, healed the blind and the lame, and made doves out of clay, which He blew on and they flew away, living birds. We also worship Allah by rejecting the belief of many Hindus who claim that they worship God who is supposedly present inside their idols at the time of their worship, and not actually the idols themselves. Likewise, we reject the claims of Satya Sai Baba, who died in 2011, who himself claimed to be God, Shiva, the avatar, incarnate, and is worshipped by millions inside and outside of India. The third principle, hope where there is a promise. The divine name Al-Wasi' contains a promise to the believers that Allah will always be there for us. There will never be a situation where He will be absent or a time when He won't be present. His attributes of love, kindness, support, protection are always and everywhere operational, as He encompasses all of creation. That knowledge should give us the self-confidence to try new things, to explore new possibilities, to not remain stagnant, but instead to be a part of a process and development. Knowing that Allah is Al-Waasi should energize us to be innovative and creative and not afraid to take chances. We should always be growing and improving by being proactive wherever and whenever the opportunities present themselves, as is commonly said. However, it is actually wherever and whenever Allah presents us with opportunities. A different mindset. One is secular and the other is God conscious. The Prophet ﷺ encouraged this growth-oriented approach to life, saying, "Khairun nas anfa'uhum linnas." The best people are those most beneficial to other people. So, this divine name should open our eyes to the limitless possibilities which exist around us and shed light on the countless prospects for growth and development, experimentation and innovation which lie within our reach. If we just take the time to look around with an open mind, awoken by reflection on Allah's name Al-Waasi', unhindered by fear of the unknown, self-doubt, nervousness, introversion, timidity, self-consciousness, etc. The Prophet ﷺ was quoted by his youngest wife and Muslim scholar Aisha as promoting excellence in life by saying, "Inna Allah Ta'ala yuhibbu idha amila ahadukum amalan an yutqina." Indeed, Allah Most High loves that whenever any one of you does work, that he or she perfects it or does it to the best of their ability. This is contrary to today's workplace culture, where employees function according to what we call the cat and mouse game. That is, when the cat's away, the mice will play. So employees usually only work hard when their bosses are around and relax when they're not. Consequently, productivity of companies are severely hampered by this inconsistency and have to employ security cameras and a variety of other methods to improve production levels, eventually replacing workers by robots, which has its own negative consequences in unemployment figures. And for us as Muslims, this is not an acceptable way to go. Because when one signs a contract with a company, they are signing the contract on the basis that they will do the best they can, not on the basis that they will do the worst, but they won't work when the boss isn't around. They're committed themselves to work to their full capacity. That's what is expected from our contracts. So it means then that if we are playing the cat and mouse game, and then at the end of the month we collect our salary which was for full work, then what are we doing? We're stealing. Our money now becomes haram. I know many of you might say, wow, that's going to be really difficult. When everybody else is not working, if we keep working, then they're going to look at us suspiciously. Yes, truly, you're going to run into that problem. If you're working, especially amongst non-Muslims, but even among Muslims who are following the cat and mouse game, when the boss goes, supervisor is gone, and they lean back and take a break, and here you are working away, they're going to say, what's this guy up to? Or some of them will say, come to you and say, it's okay, it's okay. Boss is gone, it's all right. Relax, take it easy. And of course you say, well, boss is gone, but Allah is still here. You know, I made a commitment, I need to fulfill it. This guy is trying to steal our jobs. He's trying to show us up. So you'll have your own workmates who are your friends turn into your enemies because you're trying to do the right thing. And that's a challenge that you have to deal with. And that's why it's best to work with Muslims who can understand administration that respects, and you can fulfill that requirement. The Prophet ﷺ's encouragement for those living and working according to Allah's divine name, Al-Waasi, led the Muslim empire of faith into a golden era. A golden era of learning, creativity, and invention during the Middle Ages, at a time when Europe fell into what came to be known as the Dark Ages. The fourth principle of Ibn Battal is to have fear where there is a warning. Now, although this divine name isn't itself a warning, and it doesn't contain a clear, open warning, which would immediately strike fear in our hearts, the fact that He, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, surrounds all aspects of creation with His sight, His hearing, knowing, being closer to us than our jugular veins, as He said, should awaken our sense of muraqabah, which we talked about before, God consciousness, taqwa. It should awaken that, which is induced by the name Ar-Raqib, which we discussed earlier. It should produce in us a sense of shyness regarding acts of disobedience, which, when fully developed, will play a very important role in bringing us closer to Allah. Once the Prophet ﷺ found a man from the Ansar, who were the Muslim converts of Medina, reproaching his brother for his shyness, and he told him, leave him alone, because shyness is an integral part of true belief. Integral part of true belief. People who are too bold and lack any sense of shyness are far more likely to disobey God than those who are shy. Though being bold is commonly praised and bold people are usually highly respected, it is not balanced. If it's not balanced by being somewhat hesitant, deliberating, it can cause people to quickly rush into things without proper deliberation, leading to disastrous consequences. And that's why the Prophet ﷺ had said, At-ta'anni min Allah. Deliberation is from Allah, and haste is from shaitan. As we say, haste makes waste. Likewise, if shyness crosses the proper boundaries and causes insecurity and reluctance to do what is right, it is no longer praiseworthy. For example, many Muslims, when traveling in non-Muslim countries, are often shy to pray in public, whether at the airports or the shopping malls or wherever. If the time for prayer catches them, they will deliberately miss their prayers in order not to stand out or have people stare at them. This type of shyness is not good and should be overcome by forcing oneself to pray on time, or to plan their trips more carefully. Alhamdulillah, this concludes our presentation on the name Al-Waasi'. And in terms of calling on Allah using this name, O Allah ya Wasi', we know that you are the one who encompasses everything and everyone. Make us of those who constantly remember your vastness and perfection, and whose actions reflect this awareness. Inspire us to contemplate your endless dominion and make us turn to you for every request. Guide us in being good, kind, and just ambassadors of your religion on this earth, and enable us in our faith to never doubt any of your characteristics. Ameen. Barakallahu feekum. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So, alhamdulillah, that concludes our presentation for today. And again, I apologize for the difficulties in getting things going, as we now have a new system. Facebook has changed over their way of organizing the material, and things are just not the way they were before. And some people can adjust to that very quickly. You know, it's just like snap of the fingers, blink of an eye, they're into it. But, you know, old dinosaurs like me, it takes a while to figure it all out, inshallah. So, inshallah, over the next few attempts, I should get things going more smoothly. Anyway, I didn't spend any time greeting you all in the beginning, because I tried to start the program about 5 times before this system finally started working. So now I'll just look at your questions or comments, and okay, we'll greet you at the same time. Abdurrahman, Earl, Ispina. You disappeared. Yeah, okay. Assalamu alaikum, Ahmed, F. Sheikh. Greetings to you also, brother. Fahim Azad. Can a Muslim enforce man-made laws as a judge in a non-Muslim country? Well, if the laws don't go against Islam, you know, then okay, but the likelihood is, of course, very great that the laws that you're going to be upholding will be un-Islamic laws. Better for you to be a lawyer where you work with the system to try to protect Muslims, etc. Because if we don't have lawyers, then we are finished in those lands. So it's better to stay in that area as opposed to the area of judgment, the actual judgment. Abdul Razak Bashurun, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmah. Bilqis Shuaib, Barakallah Fiki. Bello Usman, wa alaikum salam. Bilqis said, I miss my participation in a course at Islamic Online University due to payment mode. I hope to get back. I hope we can work out that problem for you. Do contact the, what do we call it, the help desk at iou.edu.com. They should help you to work out those issues. Emma Jones, inshallah, blessed to be a Muslim. May Allah keep us all Muslims, practicing Muslims, to die as Muslims, inshallah. Naira Al-Busaidi, Jazana wa yakum. Muhammad Jannah, evening to you too. Wa alaikum salam. Ayman Chowi. وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله يبارك فيك. كوكب أكبر أهلا وسهلا. بلو عثمان عودي وعليكم. Nilava, Amin to you too. Yusuf, okay, I think we covered everybody, although I saw some longer questions before. I don't know where they went to. Keeping up with the system. Musa Amy. Sheikh, you said we should image Allah Ta'ala His watch, but how should we imagine our Rabb who is so magnificent? We should image Allah His watch. I don't know what you mean by that, Hajira Fazil. I'm not telling you to make any images in your mind of Allah, because whatever you imagine Allah is, He's not. Whatever. Because if our brains are incapable of understanding Allah, we can't picture Him. You have to be able to understand something to be able to picture it. So it's out. I'm not suggesting to do that at all. Ishtiaq Ali, I want to start 11 a.m. with my professional career. Please can you advise? What by 11 a.m.? You want to start 11 a.m. with my professional career? I really can't understand that question. Muhammad Wahid, may Allah love you for loving me for His sake, from the UK. Barakallahu feekum. Inshallah. We have quite a few students from the UK studying in the International Open University, Islamic Online University. And inshallah, we hope you can share the word with others so others can benefit from it also. Amelia bint J, wa alaikum salam. Bilqis bint Shuaib, jazana wa yakum. Hasiya Abdul Razzaq, wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh wa maghfiratuh. Suwaiba Munkaila, wa alaikum salam. Rida Aziz, Dr. Bilal, I had a certain question in my mind from very long. How Muslims marry non-Muslims and they don't feel bad about it? Well, if the non-Muslim is a Christian, in the case of Muslim male marrying a Christian female, or a Jewish female, then they don't have to feel bad about it. Feeling bad is to marry, a non-Muslim who is Hindu or Buddhist or of those categories. Or if you're a female marrying a non-Muslim male who may be Christian or Jewish, it's allowed for males to marry females on that basis, but not vice versa. Why don't the scholars or the learned talk about this issue much? I feel distressed. Well, it's in the books, it's in the classes, and I'm sure where it's a big problem, then people talk about it more than where it's not. Ifa Farhana, is it permitted in Islam to live in a non-Muslim country, though even if you have another option? No, if you have the option to live in a Muslim country, then really that's where you should go to live. If you want to move around from one part of the country to another, whatever, for being able to practice Islam more comfortably, then that's fine. But in terms of leaving to and going to a non-Muslim country, fundamentally it's not haram, it's not forbidden, But if you have an option to move because you wanted to move to a Muslim country, that's better. That's far better. And if you're going to a non-Muslim country where Muslims are in such a small minority that they will be exposed to the children growing up to harm, etc., then it becomes much more serious, you know. Because, for example, if um, you went to Canada, many people have talked to me about going to Canada. They've gotten visas and landed status and all these other kinds of stuff to go there, and then regretted it. You know, I remember one sister from Pakistan come in and tell me that her two sons graduated from one of the top and most prestigious universities in Canada, University of Toronto, UFT, and both of them graduated atheists. You know, and they were a practicing family that practiced Islam. You know, the husband and wife, they were conscientious, going to the masjid and all these different kind of things. And you know, the kids, they graduated with degrees in physics and biology, biochemistry, but they were disbelievers. They had left Islam. You know, somebody called me. I remember a few months back, you know, asking me about what they should do. They said our 15-year-old son, who memorized the Quran when he was like 10 years old, he had memorized the whole Quran. He was praying, fasting, everything. When he was 15, he came home and he informed us that he no longer believed in Allah, doesn't believe in God. 15, why 15? Because it's known that once you reach 15, that your parents can't force you to do anything. You want to leave the home, you can leave. The system, Canadian system, will find a place for you. They'll put you in a home or whatever, set you up, however. You know, they'll take care of you. So they asked, what should we do? He doesn't believe in Allah. Should we kick him out? Or should we keep him? I said, well, you know, if he's just going to keep it to himself, you know, then it's better to keep him with you. If he's not aggressive, you see, because some people, when they decide they don't believe in Allah anymore, they'll, you know, like in Georgia, they put up a big billboard there, you know, saying that, you know, 3 out of every 4 Muslims born in America leave Islam. Only 1 out of 4 remains Muslim. Put a big billboard like that, signed by apostates from Islam.com. So, you know, if they're aggressive like that, then of course you have to get them out of your house. Save your other children. But if they're, okay, that's how I feel, that's what I believe, that's what I understand, okay. But they're going to be quiet, keep it to themselves, okay, fine. You know, you can try and get others, people to work on them whilst they're there with you in the home. Tajammul Hussein, he says, Assalamu alaikum. Sheikh, is Ghulam Nabi or Ghulam Rasul a proper name as per Islamic ruling? No, it's not a proper name. Ghulam Nabi means like almost Ghulam, it means almost like a servant, slave, servant of the Prophet ﷺ. Ghulam is like Abdul Nabi. You have some Muslims in the Arab world, they take that name, Abdul Nabi. So, you know, Ghulam has that, you know, although Ghulam can also mean just a young boy. That's what it originally means in Arabic. But it came to mean like slave or servant. You know, it had carried some other meanings with it. So it's really not a good name. Better to get a different one. Nur al-Islam Khan asks, Muslims are divided into different groups. How can a Muslim, I guess, Ummah be united? What should we do for our unity? Best thing is to learn your religion. You learn your religion, you understand your religion, you can help others to get that understanding, and we unite on that understanding, the correct understanding of the religion. We can't unite with people in all kinds of different directions. There's no unity then. It's not possible. You know, we can physically come together, but then we will be at each other's throats. So, best thing is to learn the religion yourself and invite others to the true religion. Ibrahim Khalil asks, Assalamu alaikum, dear brother, could you please tell me how to greet Allah? Well, you're not going to say Salam ala Allah. We will say Salam ala Rasulillah. So we're not going to give that greeting to Allah. Instead, we greet Allah by glorifying Him. When we say, Ya Allah, that is calling out to Him, Ya Allah, and using His other names, Allahumma anta salam, wa minka salam. This is greeting and praying. So, enough to say Ya Allah. That's how you address Allah. Or Allahumma. Allahumma. Allahumma means basically the same as Ya Allah, but it's a stronger form. Bubli Saima. Wa alaikum salam. Do you have any Quran tafsir lesson or lecture? Yes, there are Quran tafsirs of Quran that I've done. There's courses in the university, International Open University, 2 tafsir courses, one in Surah Al-Kahf and the other one in Surah Yasin. The other tafsirs, of the science of tafsir, methodology of tafsir, you can have the free courses in our free diploma section, which are on Usul al-Tafsir. Those are available. You can go online, link up and catch it. Otherwise, you can go to my YouTube channel, Dr. Bilal Phillips. You can go to the official YouTube channel, and there are a number of lectures there where some tafsirs of shorter chapters, etc., are available, inshallah. Marwan Isa, wa alaikum salam. Muhammad Azim, wa alaikum salam. Mariam bint Al, wa alaikum salam. Sharafuddin, my way, may Allah bless you too. Jamila bint Yasin, may Allah reward you for all you do for His sake also. Ameen. Question: does a female have to get married to a Muslim man? Yes. That's the only option she has. And this is in order to protect the woman's deen and the deen of the children. This is the main reason. It's not like double standards and some people take it like that. No, it's not about double standards. It's about reality. That women in general do what men want. So if a Muslim man marries a Christian woman, the likelihood of her coming to Islam is 100 times greater than if a Muslim woman marries a Christian man. The likelihood of her becoming a Christian is far greater. And the children in that relationship will end up being raised as Christians, most likely. I mean, they're not saying it's 100%, but it's based on that, the dominance, the male dominance in the human family. That is just how Allah made the human family. And you can find it in the animal kingdom also, to a large degree. Abdurrahman Earl Espina, can we lash her 100 times, then solemnize her wedding? I don't know about this. But brother, don't go into lashing anybody. Leave that to the Islamic State. If you're in Saudi Arabia, you're in a Muslim state where they are applying Sharia, fine. But don't go and take that upon yourself. You're living in Britain or Norway or Canada or US, you're going to start lashing people. Don't. My advice is leave that. Close that door. Ishtiaq Ali, I want to study Islam, although he wrote Ilam, with continuing my professional career. Can you please advise how it can be done simultaneously? Well, brother, you know how it can be done? Right there. You join the Islamic Online University, you can study the deen while carrying on with your career. It's something you do at your own pace, at your own time, in your home. It's there for you. International Open University. It's Islamic Online University. We Muslims believe, that is Sujanur Rahman. We Muslims believe that everything that is good or bad is God's will. My question is, how do you explain that to a non-Muslim? I would be happy if you could explain it a little bit. Well, if they don't believe in God, that's what you need to talk to them about. Don't bother to talk about how that is, about the good and the evil, all coming from Allah. If they don't believe in Allah in the first place, they don't believe in God, then what's the point in going into that conversation? You're dealing with secondary issues when they're primary issues. So first and foremost, you have to deal with the primary. The primary issue is, do they believe in God? If they believe in God, then you can get into it. How good and bad all comes from God. Inshallah. But a God who is not in control of the universe, where bad things happen in the universe that he doesn't have control over, isn't a real God. Should Muslims call themselves Salafi? You can. Is it a must? No. Abu Bakr never called himself a Salafi. Neither did Umar or Uthman or Ali. They didn't call themselves Salafis. The Sahaba, this term was never expressed by them. So it is a later developed term. There's no harm in it. You want to make a distinction, you want to clarify something, that you follow the Salafi understanding of Islam. That is, you use the understanding which was that of the early generations and so on. So fine, no problem. But then when you take it and you start to say, well, okay, I am a Salafi, and you have a button that you wear on your garment says Salafi, or you have a t-shirt, a big thing saying, I'm a Salafi. And where are we headed with that? That all the people who don't ascribe to being Salafi, then you say they're Khalafi. they're not real Muslims, they, then that's not good, you know, because Allah tells us, "i'tasimu bihablillahi jami'an." Hold on firmly together, everybody. Hold on firmly to that rope of Allah, the Quran and the Sunnah. Hold on firmly to it together. That's how we can stay together. Some people are trying to speak to me in other languages. Apakah anda bersedia menolong saya? Sorry, Ummu Salsabila, I don't know your language. Jean Tampaka, God bless you too. Hazrat Ali, Subhanallah. Subhanallah. Abdurrahman Chaudhry, God bless you also. Imam Ben Hanbal. Okay. And Allah bless you too. Papi Saleh, greetings to you also. Alaikum salam to South Africa. Armidi Shog Beni. I'm in the process of looking for a property to buy. What advice can you give in regards to mortgages and interests? Stay away from them. Better you live in a rented place. Know that the house you live in is halal than for you to pay interest and mortgages which involve interest and get your own place which is haram. Khalid Yahya from the Ukraine. Assalamu alaikum, brother. Nur Mateen. I tried getting my kids to memorize Quran and pray 5 times a day since they were 5. But they don't pray by themselves unless we pray together. Sometimes they skip prayers. They are now 15 and 13. I tried everything. What should I do? Well, I think you're probably in the wrong place, where everything around them is distracting them from prayer. Their schoolmates are non-Muslims or non-praying Muslims, etc. So, you didn't try everything. You tried some things and they didn't work. It means likely that the environment that they're living in is a destructive environment. You should be living in a community where there are other Muslims, other families, where the kids are praying, so they are friends with them and they will pray because their friends are praying. That will be enough to get them into regular prayer. Aminullah Salisu Ahmed Samia. Assalamu alaikum. Okay, I'm 11 years old and I'm asking a question. If a non-Muslim wants to be a Muslim but he dies before he makes the Shahada, what will he do? Aisha Ahmed. That's a big question for a little girl like you, Aisha. Anyway, rather than what will he do, what will happen to him? if he wanted sincerely to accept Islam, of course Allah judges according to intentions. But anyway, on the day of judgment, Allah will give him or her an opportunity to choose Islam once more. For those who didn't have the chance to make Shahada, opportunity wasn't presented to them, or they were, retarded or different other issues, they died in childhood and all this, then Allah gives them a chance to do another test before deciding where they will go in the next life. Question, if you got married a traditional way instead of nikah, is it still valid? Well, it depends. If you were married before and you accepted Islam after, you don't have to get remarried. Your marriage is still valid. But if you are a Muslim and there's a Muslim way to get married and you choose the non-Islamic way to get married, I mean, of course, in many countries in the West, they require you to do both. You can do your Islamic marriage, but you still have to go into court and do the quote-unquote official governmental way. That's a requirement. No way around that. If you went and did that one first and then afterwards you went and did the Islamic one, then that's fine also. But just to depend on that one, where there weren't witnesses and things were missing and no mahar established, and then it's not good. It's not good. Abdurrahman from the Philippines. Ahlan wa sahlan. Okay, I think we're going to shut down now. I've put in a good bit of time. Can Muslims invest in the stock market and make money this way? Not if it's this spot bidding and where you're just gambling. If you feel and when you go into this that you're just gambling, right? You're buying and selling. Why buy? Why sell? Where you're guessing and expecting and listening out for and all this other, where it ends up feeling like gambling, looking like gambling, smelling like gambling, no, it's gambling. Don't do it. But to buy a property, 5 years later its value is increased and you sell that property, it's okay. It's halal. A question from Ubaidullah Nasir. How can we start Islamic Dawah? Which point should we start from? Start from Tawheed. They need to know who Allah is. Although if they come and they ask you why you're wearing hijab, then of course you give them the clarification and eventually take them to Tawheed. Because that's what's going to save them ultimately, is Tawheed. Oh, brother, asking a big long question here. Mohsin Shakil from Pakistan, studying economics. The 73 sects, only one of them going to paradise. It's the one when the companions asked the Prophet ﷺ, who is that one? When he said, there's only one leading to paradise, he said, Ma ana alayhi wa ashabi. The one which I and my followers are on. So, the way of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as understood by his companions. What sect did Abu Bakr follow? And Omar, and Uthman, and Ali? We all know that they didn't follow any sect. What they followed was Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the madhab of Rasulullah, or maslak, you guys call it, some people call it maslak. It's the maslak of Rasulullah. Abu Hanifa was trying to follow that maslak of Rasulullah. Imam Malik was trying to follow the madhab of Rasulullah. And so was Imam Shafi, so was Imam Ahmed. And so that's where we need to be. There are many things while practicing Islam that are changing. We see our fellow Muslim brothers praying differently, raising their hands, Raf al-Yadain. Some put their clothes above the ankle and more. Well, Raf al-Yadain, raising your hands, you know, when you say Allahu Akbar, everybody agrees on the first one. Allahu Akbar. Okay? Then saying Allahu Akbar and then going into ruku'. Well, this was a practice, the most common practice of Rasulullah. But there are narrations that he didn't. So you can do that or do that. It's not a problem. In terms of wearing your clothes above the ankle, well, the Prophet ﷺ had said, what is below the ankle is in the hellfire. So then really, where should your pants stop? At your ankle. As a young Muslim, I'm afraid of doing things in which there is differences amongst the ulama. And I want, brother, virtually there's nothing you're going to find without some differences out there. The issue is whether the differences are supported by authentic hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. Sahaba told us this, expressed that. Or it's just this one's opinion and that one's opinion and the other one's opinion. That's what you have to be aware of. Okay. Are there any activities going on to unite all the madhabs, schools of jurisprudence? They're all united in following the madhab of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If you ask any of them, are you following the madhab of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? The scholars, they will say, yes, that's what we're trying to follow. You know, our teacher is Abu Hanifa. He's our main teacher. But we're all trying to follow that same madhab. David, how are you, Ustaz? I'm fine, brother. Al-Wali Lawal from Katsina State. Ahlan wa sahlan. And Allah bless you and give you long life in the worship of Allah. Hanan Mir, greetings to occupied Kashmir. And may Allah help you lift the occupation with the help of the Ummah. Because I don't think you'll be able to do it by yourselves. Like now there are more Indian troops in Kashmir than Kashmiris. May Allah protect you. Oh, Riza, that was Malay language. Well, I'm sorry, I don't know it. But we do have our Bachelor's of Arts in Islamic Studies, which is in Malay, but it's the Malay of Indonesia, Bahasa Indonesia. But we have the degree, and you guys, if you're from Malaysia, you should understand it also. And if that's easier for you, then join the program. Sulaimani Toure is asking about scholarships for the up and coming semester. Well, yeah, there will be scholarships available, inshallah. You can apply for them. Yeah, some people are saying, "Oh, my questions weren't answered." The way the questions come here, some of them go by before I'm able to answer them. Okay, anyway, inshallah, it's now 6:15. We're coming around to Maghrib soon, and inshallah, we hope to see you. Officially, we're going to try to deal with it every other day. If I can finish it off earlier, we'll try to keep it at every day. But inshallah, I'm at the same time trying to prepare what we have taken so far for publication, book publication, to work on that, give it to some editors and some proofreaders, etc. So that is being worked on whilst we continue to work on the remainder. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.